Right, it's time for another installment of the Crazy Dad Camaro. We have the thing running finally, and so now we're working on fixing the nose cone and a couple things in there. I've got it pulled off now. Pulling it off's not too bad. You've got a series of clips that go along here that require something to get in them and separate them, pull them apart, and then pull them out. And there's a couple of bolts that go in that hole right there, and a series of bolts along the bottom edge of the fender, or the nose cone, that need to come off. And then there are two bolts that you have to get in from inside here and up underneath and get off there, and there's a third one right here. And these were so rusty that I broke 5 of the 6 of them getting them out, and so we'll end up having to fix those and replace them. Had some more clips came in under the front bumper there to get those off, and that's how we got it off. Here's one of the brackets that had the bolts in it that ended up not working out right for us. Actually, looks like those bolts are actually built into the bumper now that I'm looking at it. But anyway, we'll solve that problem in a minute. But there's also a couple other things I wanted to fix on this thing while I had it apart. Right here, we've got a tear that happened, and I'm going to do the windshield urethane fix on that one. So I'll get that cleaned up, taped back into place, and urethane the back of it. And then right here on the front of it, there's another tear, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to fix it or not. Feels like probably what I'll just do is get some reinforcing on the back of it with the windshield urethane and get that taken care of. But that'll allow me to get this thing, while it's off, it'll be easier to scuff the paint up good and smooth things out, so I can spray some paint on the thing and get it put back on there. So that's kind of what I'm looking at doing today. That, and the bigger issue that I really needed to take that off for was that this piece right here, called a header panel, was broken. And it's what the headlights mount to. Let's see, this one, there's the old piece that came out of right there. So the headlights mount to it, and it was broken there and right in here, just broken completely apart. And this panel, called the header panel, is what the headlights mount to, and it's what the nose cone, the front bumper cover, mounts to, right in there too. And so we picked up another one at a wrecking yard. I don't remember what it cost, but part of that batch of stuff we got a while back, and we're going to put it on. And also needed to replace these broken fog lights down here, and they are actually way easier to do with the bumper cover off, because there's just 2 bolts that hold them on the bottom here. So I've got replacement ones again that we found at the wrecking yard, so we're going to get those put in here, and I think we'll be able to put the thing back together and have ourselves the beginnings of a paintable car, so we can move on with the paint job at that time. So that's what I'm working on today. I'll wrap this video up by showing you the clip of what I've got when I get the pieces back together. All of this has been pretty straightforward. Getting that bumper cover nose cone off of there is just a matter of finding all the clips and the bolts that are holding it on and taking them off. And hopefully you won't have the same problem I did with the rusted ones that have caused them to break, that are going to cause me a little more grief, and I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with them. So anyway, that's where we're at on this installment of the Crazy Dad Camaro. So I'll get some stuff put together here and maybe show you a few more steps as we go along, but there's where we're at right now. Got the replacement fog lamps in place, and that was a pretty simple job. Good thing I was going to tell you, anytime you get to doing something like this, make sure you check all your bulbs as you've got things apart, because some things like those fog lamps, in order to service those bulbs, you've almost got to take this bumper cover off, and you don't really want to do that. So Check all your bulbs while you're at it. These were good in those replacement lights. There's my old lights right there, and one of the bulbs was bad in one of them, but I did end up with an extra replacement bulb right here that I'll hang on to just in case we need it. So you can go around and check all these out. So on this bulb right here, you want to look in there, and I'm sure this won't give you a great picture, but if you look in there, there's 2 filaments in this bulb, and that's the little wires that go crossways in there, and you need to make sure that they're intact and attached to both sides and not broken or completely missing. This one, again, I can't see it very well, but there's a single filament in it. Again, look at it real closely. A lot of times if you see this on these style of bulbs particularly, you can see this kind of black on the end here. A lot of times it's worse than that, and that's a definite indication the bulb's bad. So you want to just pull those out and replace them. I'll look at this a little closer when I have the phone put away and my glasses on so I can actually see it. You have those. We have the ones in the headlights here. As I replace them, they're actually kind of the same thing. This one on the outside one, you can't get to it without doing some major work here. I don't think there's any way at all to get to it without removing something probably down below here. This one here, we could get to it and service it right there. And over on this other side, it's kind of the same deal. We could get to the inside one, but not the outside one. And so you're going to have to... Boy, that one's even worse. It's got a piece of plastic for an air intake down below it that even blocks getting to it from below. So I don't know what you do. Maybe the best thing here is just to take them out and pull them out this way and check them. Anyway, it's a complicated thing. You can save yourself a lot of time if you check those out as you go here. Another thing I was able to do when I had this header panel off here is, and you won't be able to see it super well, but down inside of there, that was really dusty and dirty, and while I was detailing the engine compartment, I could clean this, but I couldn't reach down in there and clean that. So again, I just wanted to take a little time, clean things up nice, so I did get some hot soapy water and wash all the remainder of this front area off down below here before I put that header panel back in place. So just another little detail that'll make the car nicer, and that's it for right now. The next thing is probably to go to work on doing the repairs on the bumper cover itself, and so I'll do that. I'll probably take that license plate cover off, and then I'm going to scuff the whole thing really good so I know what it looks like. I'll clean it up real good with some lacquer thinner to start with so that I get any old grease and oil off of it. And then I'm actually going to paint it red before I put it back on, and I'm also going to tape off and paint these black areas here before I put it back, just because it'll be easier to do it when it's off. And so we'll get going and get that far. Oh, there's another crack right there that's going to need some work done on it, so I'll pull these lights out anyway, and that'll allow me to get to there and fix that up. There's another crack by this other turn signal light right there. We'll do the same thing with it. Again, this is not a high dollar restoration thing here. This is a low buck way to build an old car, and so I could replace this whole thing and repaint it and everything, but I can fix these things with the rest of my tuba windshield urethane, so it's not going to cost us anything. And that's one of the things we're after here, is keep the cost down, especially when you have to do something like replace the dumb engine in the thing. Okay? Anyway, so there you go. That'll be the next plan of attack here, and if I get farther through that, maybe I'll show you some pictures of how that's going. Okay, I got these two turn signal lights pulled out of that front bumper cover. They just have 3 screws holding them in, and we've got some major overspray on that one. So I'm going to clean that up. I'll try lacquer thinner first, but I don't think it's going to cut this. This is a much stronger paint, so I'll probably end up using the old razor blade and very gently scraping it off of there. But this is just another one of those detail things that'll help dress the car up quite a bit.
we go. That cleaned up pretty nice. I lied, I didn't try the lacquer thinner on it, partly because I haven't had any luck with it on this other paint primer on this car. But I just immediately ran the razor blade over it gently, and it just scraped right off. So probably took me about 5 minutes working on it to get all that overspray off, and there was some even that you can barely see, but it all scraped right off and still looks pretty decent. So there we go. One more step closer to the Crazy Dad Cool Lowbutt car.